Woohoo! Abiola Abrams here. It is Sacred Bombshell Academy launch week. We are celebrating you, and we are celebrating the launch of the Sacred Bombshell Handbook of Self-Love, my new book. And we are blessed this evening with one of the women who is featured in the book, giving knowledge in the chapter on abundance. And tonight she's going to be talking to us about how abundance is our birthright. Yes, welcome, Kara Stevens.
Thank you, Abiola. Thank you.
You are welcome. And Kara is actually a personal finance expert. She is the founder of the Frugal Feminista, personal finance and lifestyle blog committed to empowering women to use money as a tool to fuel and fund our juiciest lives. Can we get an amen for that? Amen. After climbing her way out of $65,000 worth of student loan and credit card debt, building up her financial reserves, and aggressively investing in equities, Kara soon saw the link between personal power and financial freedom and wanted to inspire and educate other women around the increasing of their financial acumen and financial self-confidence. I'm so excited about her work. Let me just tell you a little bit more about this incredible teacher we have with us tonight. A teacher, historian, connector, and activist at heart, Kara wants to lead a frugal feminista revolution to change the conversation between girlfriends, between husbands and wives, between mothers and daughters, between sisters. Audiences love her unique approach to personal finance. She believes that money is neither the answer nor the cause of women's financial challenges and setbacks. Instead, she believes that our relationships with power, confidence, and self-love dictate the level to which our financial abundance will flourish. Listen to this. This is my favorite part of her bio. Kara believes that once women tap into their own greatness, how they treat money, how they approach wealth building, and how they define success and value will grow exponentially. She's at once a coach and a confidant. She delivers tough love with a sense of compassion, accountability, and urgency. Those that work one-on-one with Kara know that she pushes women to move from fear to confidence, inaction to action, procrastination to progress with dignity and respect. This woman is a New Yorker, a first-generation American. She possesses a BA in political science from Oberlin, a master's degree in education, bilingual education from CUNY's Hunter College, and she also is a graduate of Columbia University's Teachers College. She has written for and been seen around the web and the media. Welcome, Kara Stevens, once again.
Yay, thank you for having me. Thank you.
You're welcome. And so, given all of that, all of the wonderful things that I just read, who are you, Kara Stevens, and what do you do in your own words?
Well, I would like to say that at my heart, or at the center of who I am, I think I am a connector, and I think I am a believer in the power of sisterhood and in the power of self-awareness. And so being a woman and loving my womanness and then being aware of who I am as an individual has been able to allow me to engage in radical self-discovery and ownership of all my flaws on the one hand, but all of my strengths and all of my abilities on the other. And understanding my unique skill set emotionally, spiritually, and even financially has allowed me to step into the woman that I am and support other women along their road to self-discovery, so they can do the same for themselves. So I would say that's who I am. And in addition to that, I'd like to save. And I'd like to talk about, help women understand the power of self-awareness in its relation to abundance and wealth in general.
Beautiful, beautiful, Kara. Well, the title of the talk that you were originally scheduled to give when this was a live event is Abundance is Your Birthright. Now, you are a first-generation American, and I know that there were certain things that you learned from your family, different members of your family, I'm sure positive and negative, the range when it comes to abundance. Can you tell us a little bit more about your personal background?
In terms of my family story,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
And
a
your story, and your story.
well, I mean, I have a complex story, like when you have lots of people that pitch in to help you create your world and your environment. But I grew up in Queens, Hollis, Queens, single parent, very ferocious mom. I never really felt though that life was um, lacking love because I felt my mom gave me all the things that I needed. I grew up with a brother, a hard-working family. My mom was a nurse, had several jobs, to try to give us all the experiences that would be associated with maybe two family incomes and maybe upper middle class or wealthy um, experiences. So we were able to travel at an early age, back and forth to Antigua. I was able to go to Paris, um, Paris, France, and other European countries at an early age. And in addition to that, along those lines, I learned various ways to respond to money, to look at money, and some were at times see my mom struggle, but at other times I saw her invest in things that had an exponential outcome. So um, so from that comes a vast understanding of what money can do in certain circumstances when used wisely, and sometimes the impact of what a lack of money or a lack of what a lack of money can keep people from being locked out of opportunities as well. But in addition to that, my story, like as an adult, um, my story comes from um, just being able to be a teacher. I was a teacher at one point, helping students understand their own greatness, and then along the way, becoming aware of my own greatness, my love of African American or African diasporic literature, understanding the role of money and all those things. And after having gotten into debt, $65,000 worth of debt, and working my way out of it, I realized that my ability to teach about money would be somewhat of a calling, so I can help other women tap into how to systematically change their mindset about money in order to change how they impact, how basically the bottom line in their bank accounts as well.
Now, I know that, you're an incredibly, like a highly educated woman. You could, Kara, almost be teaching about anything in the world. And you answered a little bit of this, but I'd like you to go deeper. What made you specifically, with wanting to empower women, want to approach it from the angle of finances and money?
Well, I think finances and money is like the third person of every relationship that you have. It impacts you daily. It impacts relationships. Like you said, like in the bio, between husbands and wives, sisters to sisters, mothers to daughters. It's always the third person in a relationship, and it can deeply impact the bond and intimacy of lots of relationships. And I think that women are taught not to see that as a legitimate relationship that they have because it's an inanimate object. But we curse money, we bless money, we ask for money, we pray for money. We pray for we pray for it in church, like some women pray for a good husband. So, I'm just saying, so definitely it plays a role in what we can, we use as a proxy for love, for happiness, for joy, for stability, for security, for power, for status. So once we understand that money plays more of a role in our lives then we're consciously aware, and once we tap into it consciously, we can definitely see how we can control it so it doesn't control us, and so we can use it to actually get us closer to the things that are more important to us, whether it be relationships that you want to invest in, or opportunities that you want to invest in, whether it be spiritual or a job-related opportunity. So I think the reason I tapped into money because money is so powerful, and often we walk around blindly about, for a lot of reasons we walk around blind because we're taught that we shouldn't talk about money, or there are biblical passages say, the love of money is the root of all evil. And some of us think that money is anti-spiritual, or we've seen wealthy people abuse money, or we've seen people of low economic means manipulate to get money. So money gets a bad rap when it really shouldn't. It's our relationship with it that we have to unpack in order to neutralize the amount of power that we give it, but then empower ourselves to use it the way we need to.
Okay. So if we want to empower ourselves, like you said, around money, let me take one piece of what you just said that was really powerful. A lot of us do have blocks around the idea of money, not being spiritual, or I know that a lot of my friends are artists, creative people, healers, and feel that money, like that there are the financial people, and then there are the creative people, or the financial people who are less spiritual, and then the more spiritual people. Can you speak a little bit about that belief and how and why people should break through that belief?
Well, I think sometimes the idea creatives think that money um, takes away from their creativity. They're kind of selling their souls. But if we look at money as a way to bring more creativity in the world, in the right hands, it can produce exponentially more creative people. It can fund other people to be more creative. It can give artists more time to explore their creative side and the space to create more. So I think that it's in artists' best interest to have a financial mindset of money not being the antithesis of creativity. It actually fosters and supports creativity because you don't have to worry about eating or making ends meet because you have that side, your basic needs taken care of. And you think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If your basic
I
needs
was
aren't
just thinking that.
right, if your basic needs aren't taken care of, how you gonna get to the ideas of self-actualization and those values of beauty, autonomy, freedom, justice, if all you're doing is thinking about how you're gonna get your next meal, your water bill, or keep your phone on. So I think oftentimes because of the way that money is portrayed in society, it's often very wealthy, um, very wealthy older men that are using money to control, manipulate, and abuse people. So no one wants to be associated with that use of money. But I'll tell you, those men, when they had no money were probably the same way. So I think money allows you to be more of who you are. So I think the fear, just like when women say they want to go to the gym and they don't want to they don't want to do weights because they don't want to bulk up, the likelihood of women being bulky is so low, because of the levels of testosterone that we have. In the same way, money, when given more of it, is not going to make you something that you're not. It's going to make you more streamlined, more thoughtful because you have opportunities to explore and engage in that radical self-discovery that I talked about before. So I would say that to artists is the more money you have, the better, so you can support your art, support others in their art, and create communities where money is viewed differently and used as a form of social justice, or at least for creativity.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, your brand, Kara,
Mhm.
has the word frugal in it,
Right.
right? The frugal feminista. Now, frugal scares a lot of women,
Right.
that people want to spend money, and so the idea of, okay, here's Kara. She's a
Mhm.
personal finance expert, and frugality is a part of her lesson. People may say, can you tell us more about that part of it?
Right. So I guess one of my parts of my revolution is to make frugal the new sexy, and frugal the new abundance. I
Yeah,
think
love
that
that.
yeah, it is because actually, when you think about frugality, it's not being cheap or being miserly. It's just being mindful of your spending And when we talk about abundance, it's really aligning yourself, aligning your spending habits, aligning where you invest your, even abundance in terms of time, where you invest your time, your money, and your energy into things that are really important to you. So actually being frugal gives you an opportunity to spend time doing more of the things that you love instead of things that you kind of like or you think other people want you to like. So when you're frugal, you get very merciless in cutting out things that aren't important to you. So you have more time to do things that are really, really, really important to you. And that's not to say there are things, if you were to make a list of, say, for example, things that you love to do, people you love to be with, those should be on the line of things that you spend most of your time and money on. And things that you don't really like or you kind of feel yeah about, you put into another category so you'll spend even less money. So actually being frugal brings you more money into your life, more time and more energy and more juiciness because you're giving it all to the things that you love, and in return all those the things that you love and the people that you love pour into you. So it's like an exchange of abundance and you're kind of feeling full all around. So frugality, again, isn't a stripping away of things that you love. It's a stripping away of things that aren't important to you to really reveal what's really the most important to you so you can spend more time doing more of that.
Oh, that sounds great. That sounds great. Well, I know along those lines that you have a lesson that you call Saving for a Sunny Day. Can you tell us about that? What is Saving for a Sunny Day?
Well, saving for a sunny day is the antithesis of saving for a rainy day. I think when it comes to personal finance, a lot of us think that a gloom and doom approach to money is in order when it really isn't. And I think often we stray from dealing with money because we only think of, I need money for an emergency. I lost my job. My car engine fell out. There's a doctor's emergency. Someone's in the hospital. But money is also to be used for pleasure and things that you love, and you can save up for it. So so saving for a sunny day is when you systematically and deliberately put money aside for things that you love, so you can live in alignment with your values, which brings more abundance into your life. So, for example, I have a save for a sunny day jar where I put all my loose coins. Some people want to save their dollar bills, or even they want to get really, they want to save quicker, they can put $5 bills or whatever amount denomination they choose. And once it's full, they don't put the money towards something that is a necessity per se in terms of what we consider necessities in this society, like food, clothes, shelter, but something that feel like is a necessity for the soul, whether it be travel, a course, anything that you feel will really support your personal abundance and your development, and you do so without guilt.
Ah, okay. Okay, I love that idea. I love the idea of the jar. That's something that's really simple and really easy, and we can all do that. So I will be doing that. I think that's a great idea. So one of the things also that I thought was really profound is that you said that money is the additional character or personality in any relationship, with us and the people that we're close to, your spouse or your children or your family or whomever. You are married, and I see that you have a new post. I haven't had a chance to read it yet. Name something like Me and My Man and Our Money Problems or something like that. Can you tell us a little bit about, if someone just in a relationship, people are coming together with their own money histories and not turning off their phones with their own money histories and issues and fears, and having that be something within their relationship. How do you recommend that couples deal with that, and how have you dealt with that?
Well, I think before you even get married, you should begin having conversations about money I guess in relation to the stage of the relationship. So thinking early in your relationship, just asking being open about, for example, budgeting. Do you have a budget? And discussing why you do need a budget. I think there's a book that I bought called 100 Hard Questions to ask, and there are different sections for people who are really serious about their relationships to delve into in order to make the transition from, being coupled in a loose way to being coupled in a serious way. I think also questions, being able to communicate what your childhood experiences were like when you were growing up, so you can understand the money story that each of you bring to the table, is an important part of a discussion before you get married. And even after you're married, having a sense of financial intimacy and understanding that intimacy comes with disclosure and also comes with boundaries. So, for example, a lot of people are quick to say, we should save everything together. We're one. Everyone needs to be one, and that may not be true for every couple because of their various histories that they bring into their relationships. So, if they're being honest with themselves and saying money is definitely a trigger for me or a place I'm uncomfortable with, and I feel most comfortable starting with maybe a joint savings, a joint checking account, and keeping savings separate. And as they go deeper into, life's journey together financially, they can begin to chip away and say, now I feel more comfortable to move from this stage to perhaps sharing a savings account and a checking account. But for some people, they enjoy the freedom of being able to say, they enjoy the freedom of having everything separate, but it works so each couple has its own rhythm and its own system, and it has to be respected. But the only way it's respected is if it's talked about and it's made transparent. So I think, again, the idea of being able to discuss it early on is the most important thing, to be self-aware of the messages and ideas in your money style. So you may realize that you may love the man across the table, you may love the woman across the table, but your financial personalities may be incompatible. So what happens? Is it feasible to get a counselor? Because you may need a counselor to help you both overcome what money means to both of you. And don't be afraid to invest in counseling, because it is for the duration of, it's for the fortitude and longevity of your relationship.
Well said, Kara. Can you define for us a little bit more financial intimacy?
Well, financial intimacy is one of the many intimacies that we engage in, but financial intimacy is probably the last one that we talk about. Financial intimacy is basically being transparent and communicative about money in a relationship and the role it plays in your day-to-day lives and into your short-term and long-term goals as a couple. And I think financial intimacy, like any type of intimacy, it grows. Little by little, conversation by conversation, misunderstanding, and then communication as a result of misunderstanding. I think that we watch a lot of TV, and we think that we fall in love at the first sight, and everything falls into place, and his money is my money, and everything is everything, and this, that, and the other. And that's not the reality. Intimacy with anything, especially for someone that you choose to partner with for the rest of your life, requires persistence, deliberate action, and communication and trust as a bottom line. But another thing I wanted to say, I forgot to say, Abiola, is that when I talk about financial boundaries, any relationship where someone is controlling the finance of another is a form of financial abuse, right? In the sense that if you consider yourself equals, or if you consider yourself a traditional model of gender roles, regardless, each person has a right to abundance in their life, meaning they're entitled to peace, respect, and dignity in their relationships. And one of those relationships is with their money as well. So, say for example, in my home, we put a cap on how much we would ask each other. Like if I buy something, I don't have to ask my husband's permission to buy anything because I've been making money my whole life. I'm a grown woman, and getting married doesn't reduce me to the level of a child because I've been an adult and managing my money for a long time. So when I just wanted to reiterate, I didn't really speak about personal boundaries when it comes to finances, but that's a sign of financial intimacy, and a lack of it may be signs of financial abuse.
That's really really powerful, Kara, and I look forward to hearing more about that. Just in your work in general, I think that that's something really powerful to delve into that will help a lot of women. I would like to get back to our title. You know, you've been just dropping so many gems. Abundance is our birthright. So if someone is watching and she's coming to this from the point of view, she saw that title and she was drawn in. Wow, I never thought of abundance being my birthright. And she has financial blocks, some of the things that you talked about earlier. How can she get past those to even be able to have some of these conversations or this financial intimacy with herself, like get even into the mindset of abundance is my birthright? And what if she is blocking her own money and blocking her own blessings, as a lot of us, I have been there in the past. Like I had a money repellent mindset, for various reasons. How can people break past those barriers, those personal belief system barriers?
I think that's a great question, Abiola, and I think depending on the individual, there are lots of approaches. For someone that has had a habit of self-discovery, I think journaling is an excellent way just to write down their thoughts. So, for example, for example, if you had a purchase or an impulse buy, think about what thoughts preceded it. What thoughts preceded yourself all the way to the counter? What thoughts were you having as you open your purse? What thoughts, cause a lot of things happen in between. We're not aware of it. So if you are someone that's a reflective person, you can already say, oh my gosh, I can't wait till this guy sees me in this dress. Or once I get this, and I've said it before, I'll be happy. And I've made those statements to myself. Or I just know that I'll feel so pretty that all my problems will go away. Or I'll say, I deserve this. I work hard. Or no one's going to tell me I can't buy this. So all these different messages is just don't ignore them, and don't feel guilty about them either. It's you want to be self-curious and say, what is actually going through my mind as I purchase? What's going through my mind when I'm afraid to purchase? Because that's the other side of it. We talk about spending as a distorted view of money, but when someone hoards money, or if someone amasses money to the point where they're afraid to spend, or spending makes them sad, or spending makes them anxious, you have to be cognizant of those messages too. When you want to buy something, or say your shoe is into pieces, but you're like, no, I can hold on to it. What are the messages that are being said in your head? I'll never have enough. I'm afraid that I'll go without. So I think you're very aware of the messages that are going into your head when you decide to over-purchase too much, or when you don't allow yourself to get what you need, or even things that you love or want. Why are you being so self-deprecating? So that's the first step. I would say if you're self-reflective, think about those things, reflect on it, and then review your notes and say, well, what am I learning about myself? If I continue with this behavior, what will happen? Is this what it means? Are the actions that I'm saying, are the actions that I'm doing aligning with my values? And if not, you see that there's a gap, what are you going to do about it? And so it could just be a minor shift in your next step. So next time I won't go to the store or to the, wherever it is, I'll call a girlfriend, or I'll go home and read a book, or I'll find I'll find another alternative to fill in for the shopping. And on the other hand, with people who don't shop, it's the same thing. What am I afraid that I'm losing when I do this? Or do I feel that I don't deserve it to get this thing that I need or that I want? I think the second...
No, go ahead. Just really good advice.
The second thing that For someone who needs support, I think finding a coach is extremely helpful for them to have those questions and have those conversations where you can actually reflect on your money story. I call it the money story because all of us have, the first time we kissed a boy or kissed a girl, or, the college experience or this experience. But within all those things, there's a story about your first experiences with money, when you first saw your parents or your caretakers or someone really influential talk about money. You've seen maybe money used as a tool to disempower, to empower, to manipulate, to support. And so along your journey in life, you accumulate all these different messages. And along the way, you may not revisit them. You may be living with the same 5-year-old understanding of money as an adult, as a woman that has access to money. So you may need to have someone help you unpack that gap and help you figure out what are the healthiest ways that you can move toward a more abundant relationship with money and relationships with things that you want in your life, and using money to help you get those things. So I would
Beautiful. So what does when you say have a more abundant relationship with money, what does that mean and what does that look like? What should that look like?
Well, I think so. I think a lot of us go through different stages with our money, stages towards, like, say, abundance. So I think a lot of us go through financial denial, like, I don't have any money problems, like, I don't spend, I don't do whatever. A lot of us have financial anxiety where we don't know where the next set of money is going to come from. And so those are two stages that show that you're probably not aligning, you're not comfortable with money as a tool to do things that you want, to be with the people that you want to be, and to free yourself enough time to do those things. So the abundance is the idea that who you are and what you do kind of come together, have a convergence. There isn't a disconnect, and you're using your money to do more the things that you want to do so you can be more the person that you want to be. And so when you're asking about abundance, there's always someone that you know that has this energy where it's like there's just something about Abiola, there's just something about Kara, like she says she's going to do something, she does it, she pays for it, and she makes sacrifices in other areas of her life financially so she doesn't put herself into debt, because part of abundance is financial self-care. Financial self-care is I'm not going to allow myself to get into debt because I care too much about my present 30-year-old self or 25-year-old self, and equally I care about Kara when she's 65, because Kara won't be able to be working and going up and down these subway stairs in heels, and all those things. So I know self-care is not a superficial thing of just hair and nails. It's creating the systems and structures so when time comes, Kara will be able to be well taken care of in a way that she's used to, so she can continue living abundantly as a time based on like when she's 70, what that means to her, but she would have all the resources that she needs in order to continue living abundantly.
Oh, that's so good. I can't wait until your book is out in the world and done. Like, this is just so wonderful and powerful. Thank you. Okay, we have a question for you, Kara, and this will actually be the last question of the night. What does money, abundance, and prosperity have to do with self-love?
Self-love is the belief that you are entitled in a good way to having peace, to having to living the life that you feel you were brought here to do, and to live with dignity and with peace and respect. So the question of prosperity is, we all do something well. We all do something well, and when we know that we do something well, if we can identify our strengths, then that's a form of tapping into our self-love. I have allowed myself to feel good about myself, to discover who I am, and as a result, I've found these things that I'm really, really, really good at, and I want to share with the world. And when I share with the world, I'm able to help. I'm sharing and offering this gift. And when I offer this gift, I'm able to love myself enough to know my worth, to know that money is a reality in this world, that I need money in order to be able to give more of my gift to more people because I need to have my needs met. So that's the link between prosperity, money, and self-love. That was the question?
Yes, yes. I think that that's a really good answer. It felt like there was more that you needed to say. Is there any last burning thought that you would like to leave our Bombshell Academy viewers with tonight?
Well, I have some ways to keep your life abundant. I have a
Yes.
couple. Um,
Okay, share as many as you have.
so I have it in several, I have two parts. So there are three things to do to keep yourself abundant. And I've alluded to them, but I'm going to be very specific now. Three
Okay.
things. Know what makes you happy and schedule to do it. And so a lot of times we look for these lofty things, but it's in the doing that makes you abundant, not the thinking. After you think, you have to do. Think, do. So if you know you like to do something, then schedule to do it. And if you don't have the money, consider selling something that you don't really care about to get the money to do what you want to do. Just the other day, I sold some books on Amazon. I think I made $60 in my sleep. So I can, take a class, buy a book, do those things that I really love. I don't love those books. I don't need them. So I kind of get really strategic about finding what I love to do and scheduling to do it. Okay, so that's number one. So pay attention to signs of a lack of abundance. I use the analogy of a car and a tank. So you think of a full tank of gas, right? So you need to pay attention to the signs of when your tank is at half or at quarter tank. And you know when you're at those levels, that means that you are doing one of the following things. And there's a couple. You get whiny and complaining about why things aren't going well in your life, and then you suck all the energy from other people who seem to be living their life. So you may scroll through celebrity gossip columns more often than necessary, looking for the downfall of someone who's living abundantly and living their life. Or even your friends, you may get catty around your friends. You may complain. You may just kind of have pity parties, which is sometimes good because we all need to honor our feelings. But if you languish in that feeling, it's obvious that you're at a quarter tank or half tank of abundance. And so another sign that you're really not aligned to your abundance is when you have reckless self-talk and doubt. I think that when you begin to listen to those thoughts in your head all the time, it's because you're not allowing your abundance to take its place. So instead of being around interesting people who are doing interesting things, you end up finding you commiserate with those that are equally miserable, and then it gets to magnify and double up and triple up on the self-hate, so that it's just like a hateration club, and you guys don't get anywhere. You end up being even lower on the level of abundance than when you started by yourself.
I just felt that pinging around the room. I just felt that resonate with people who are watching, like, a club of misery. In the book, I actually call it I said I had to, distance myself from the mindset of the sisterhood of the traveling brokenness.
It's true. No, it's true. And that's another thing that leads me to this. If you, like we're talking about finance, when you start spending money on things that you don't want, don't need, and don't even remember, you're probably not living abundantly, because you realize that resources are scarce. Money is a resource, and it's scarce. So if you're using it for things that aren't going to exponentially increase your happiness, then you probably haven't figured out what makes you happy, and you haven't aligned it to your abundance. So go back to step one, which is to find out what makes you happy and schedule to do it. Because also, you can only be in one place at one time. So if you're in your racquetball class or you're down someone's Cayman Islands, you can't be shopping. So you actually, it really occupies your time when you're living abundantly. And you realize that people who are living abundantly, they're not really around. They don't have much free time because they've stuffed their schedule with really cool stuff to do. So
this is good stuff. No, this is good stuff.
So, and I think the final thing is to live abundantly, you have to commit to doing it. And I think that's something that we forget. We do it once and we want our lives to change, but it's an exercise, it's a daily exercise in committing to living at least a three-quarters tank full of abundance. So that means that you can't schedule every day with everything that you want to do because there's certain things you may have to do for work, but most of your time is dedicated to the people that you love, the things that you do, and your money and your budget is a passion abundance-based budget. So you can allow yourself to save for a sunny day because your money is strategically and systematically going to paying yourself first for your bills, of course, and then paying yourself first for abundance. And I would also like to add one last thing. If you have 50%er people in your life, people living on half a tank of abundance, I just have a few things if you want to do. Ask them to engage in radical self-reflection as well. Well, what is it that you really like to do, Sam? I mean, Sam, I am. Like, I know, the sky is falling, but is there something that you like to do? Do you like taking pictures of the falling sky? I mean, give me something, please. So I think when you deal with people who are not interested, I mean, not interested, but haven't fully identified their abundance, a good friend may help point them in the right direction to identify what they're good at, and maybe that'll be enough of a nudge to get them there. But for those that just really are committed to being 50%ers, then you have to distance yourself, love them from afar, because you only have but so much abundance and so much time. So it's better to maybe to preserve yourself and love them from a distance. And if anything, you can bring your cool, abundant friends with them to kind of introduce them to abundance if they're open.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much, Kara, for the concrete advice. And they should point themselves in the direction of your site and your coaching. Tell us about what is going on in your universe and how, if people want to delve further, get further knowledge, how can they participate and what can they do? What's going on in the Kara world?
Oh, thanks so much, Abiola. Well, for the Bombshell, the Sacred Bombshell Handbook, I decided to do an abundance and budget coaching course just for those listeners out there that are interested in really sitting down and going through a 5-step process of how to take your budget from one that is austere to one that is abundant, and systematically creating structures for you to look at your budget, see what you like to do, see how much time you're spending on it, and then create ways to make sure your streams of income allow you to do it, and setting goals and benchmarks for when you're actually going to indulge in your abundance.
Oh, that's great. That is juicy. Okay, so how do people find you? How do they find this? And if they are interested, tell us more.
Great. So you just go to my site. You click on Contact Me and just say, I want abundance, and then we'll take it from there. So I'm super stoked, and Abiola, I love you so much. So thank you so much for allowing me. And you were also very much pivotal and instrumental in me moving the Frugal Feminista to where it is now. So abundant people have coaches, you guys. They do.
Absolutely, absolutely, and I am honored to know you and to work with you, and I'm so proud of your work. And people, you should look for a collaboration with Kara and I in the fall, early fall, we were thinking sometime, so keep your eyes peeled for that. Kara is very accessible throughout social media, and so definitely be in touch with her if you have additional questions or thoughts that we didn't get to today. And she actually has a giveaway that is going on right now of my the cards, and we'll put the cards and the book together. These are the African Goddess Affirmation cards, and Kara has a giveaway.
I love that. They're on my site. Yeah, I have to remember. Yes, so they're on the site. You go to the site. It was a post from yesterday or 2 days ago where you answer questions about what goddess do you need to have an affirmation from. and we'll talk about it. And you can follow me on Twitter at Frugal Feminista, and I'm on Facebook at The Frugal Feminista. And please come talk. Just drop me a note. I love to hear how you're living abundantly and using your money to align with your abundance.
Beautiful. And Kara, just for your community, I will include, along with the cards, a copy of the book. And so, you know, that's a self-love package for your readers. So thank you very much, Ms. Kara Stevens. And I'm actually going to close us out by reading us just very briefly from the book, The Sacred Feminine Law of Abundance. The sacred bombshell knows that she is worthy of living an abundant life. She acknowledges that we live on a bountiful, prosperous, and affluent planet. Giving and receiving her riches makes her a part of Earth's flow, where there's no such thing as scarcity, as she respects the power of manifesting and creating her own abundance. This is sacred self-love. So thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you to Kara, and thank you to you for watching. And if no one has told you today, I love you, dream bigger, love yourself, and see you tomorrow for the two final videos of just this launch part of the series, Sacred Bombshell Academy, where we have the lessons of community and creativity. You don't want to miss that. Okay, good night.